In the spring of 1353, a French princess set foot on Spanish soil to marry a king. She was just 14 years old. Dressed in silk and lace, crowned with jewels, she walked down an aisle with the eyes of Europe upon her. 2 days later, she vanished. The man who had vowed to protect her, King Peter of Castile, locked her away, not for a month, not a year, but for the rest of her life. She became queen for 2 days, and then disappeared forever. This is the forgotten, chilling story of Blanche of Bourbon, a girl used, betrayed, and buried in silence. Blanche was born in 1339 into the prestigious Bourbon family, French nobility of the highest order. Her father, Peter I, Duke of Bourbon, and her mother, Isabella of Valois, placed her directly in the orbit of royal power. She was also the niece of King Philip VI of France and cousin to Charles V, future king. From a young age, Blanche was trained not for freedom, but for diplomacy. Her future was never hers to choose. She was born to serve a crown, not wear one. And in 1353, when Blanche was just 14, that future arrived in the form of King Peter of Castile, known to history as Peter the Cruel. Peter of Castile was 18 when negotiations for the marriage began. He was a young, volatile king, known for his mood swings, fierce loyalty to his mistress, and complete disregard for political norms. But he had advisers, and those advisers wanted an alliance with France. Blanche of Bourbon, a French princess with a generous dowry and prestigious lineage, was the perfect political match. There was just one problem. Peter was already in love. His mistress, Maria de Padilla, held his heart, and possibly his hand in secret marriage. So, while Peter's court worked to finalize a marriage to Blanche, Peter was resisting it. He delayed it, avoided it, and tried to sabotage it. But political pressure mounted. Eventually, Peter gave in. The marriage was arranged. Blanche set out from France, accompanied by diplomats, nobles, and her massive dowry. She arrived in Valladolid to great fanfare, trumpets, flowers, poetry. She was hailed as a queen even before the wedding, but the man she was marrying never wanted her. The wedding took place in June 1353. By all accounts, it was elaborate and regal. Blanche wore a crown. She was presented to the people of Castile as their queen. But barely 48 hours later, Peter left her. Yes, 2 days after the wedding, Peter of Castile abandoned his new wife and returned to his mistress, Maria de Padilla, without explanation or ceremony. He would never return to Blanche as husband. Why? There are theories. One claims Peter had never intended to honour the marriage. He had been forced into it and used the wedding simply to secure Blanche's dowry. Once the money was delivered, he discarded her. Another theory says Blanche's dowry was delayed, and Peter felt insulted by France. So, as revenge, he took her to the altar, married her, and then imprisoned her out of spite. Whatever the motive, Peter made one thing clear. He did not want Blanche as his queen. And so, without scandal or fanfare, Blanche of Bourbon was taken away and hidden from the world. Blanche's life as queen was over before it had begun. After her abandonment, she was moved to a series of remote castles in Castile: Arevalo, Medina Sidonia, and Jerez. She was not allowed to return to France. She was not allowed to speak publicly. She was kept under constant guard, isolated from allies. For the next 8 years, Blanche would be held prisoner. She had no court, no power, no visitors except the occasional French envoy. She was, legally, the Queen of Castile, but in reality, she was nothing more than a political prisoner in her husband's shadow. Attempts to rescue her were made. The Pope sent envoys. French diplomats pleaded. Even her cousin, Charles V of France, tried to negotiate her release. But Peter, drunk on power and fiercely loyal to Maria de Padilla, refused to acknowledge Blanche as queen at all. He even claimed the marriage was invalid, despite all evidence to the contrary. By 1361, Peter was under pressure. His enemies were multiplying. His own half-brother, Henry of Trastamara, was rising in rebellion, and one of the most powerful arguments Henry made was Blanche. "She is a true queen," Henry declared, "and Peter has turned her into a ghost." The image of Blanche, imprisoned, innocent and royal, was a powerful symbol. It made Peter look cruel, dishonourable, even illegitimate. So Peter took a final step to ensure her silence. In March 1361, after nearly 8 years of captivity, Blanche of Bourbon died. The official story? She succumbed to illness. The unofficial story, repeated by several chroniclers of the time, was far more sinister. According to various sources, Peter ordered one of his knights to execute Blanche quietly. One man allegedly refused, calling it murder. Another carried out the task. The details vary, but the result is the same. Blanche was dead, and Peter ensured that her memory would fade along with her. Blanche was buried in the monastery of Santa Maria la Real de las Huelgas in Burgos, far from the palace she once entered as a bride. No royal ceremony, no mourning court, just silence. In Castile, her name was erased from documents. Peter elevated Maria de Padilla and later claimed she had always been his only true wife. But Blanche's memory didn't disappear everywhere. In France, she was remembered as a tragic figure, a royal martyr. French writers and poets portrayed her as a victim of Castilian cruelty. Her story was passed down in whispers, never front-page history, but never fully gone. And when Peter himself was finally overthrown in 1369 by his own half-brother Henry, Blanche's story resurfaced. Henry used her death as evidence of Peter's tyranny. He ordered that Blanche be reburied with honour, with the title of Queen of Castile, a title denied to her in life, but restored in death. Today, Blanche of Bourbon is barely a footnote in Spanish history. She never ruled. She had no children. She was quickly replaced. Her story was one of silence, not action. And in the brutal memory of history, silence often means disappearance. But Blanche's tragedy reveals something deeper about royal life in the medieval world. Queens were not rulers. They were pawns,